computer. Great, great. And so what they did at the beginning to make sure that this was a fair launch, they didn't give their mama, their daddy, their teams, their developers, themselves, any leaders, a bunch of tokens. Because if they would have done that, as we push up the price, what would have happened? All these guys would have just dumped it on our heads, right? So that's not what happened here. And so what happened was there were people who knew about AKAS, who was paying attention to the industry, and we were able to purchase nodes. We got on a white list. We were able to purchase the nodes anywhere from $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, and $10,000. Okay. They didn't just say, okay, we're going to give you these nodes for 30 days or 5 days. And what they did was they said, nope, everyone has to have their node for 360 days. So when we logged in on launch, we saw our node sitting there, our liquidity pool node sitting there, earning for 360 days. So we can't unstake them, trying to be sneaky or anything like that. We take our rebates if we want to, cash it out if we want to, all of that. But your nodes are going for 360 days. That's fair. I know some deals that are out there that are giving people tokens, giving leaders tokens. Not good. If you look at Origin, for example, even if you look at Olympus DAO went up to $1,300. We're talking about 4 years ago. They're still here. They weren't based on network marketing or any of that, but just us nerdy people who are liquidity providers and mentors and stakers and looking for DeFi projects. And so, but they gave a whole bunch of folks a whole bunch of tokens. It went up to $1,300 because the team, the community drove that baby up. And guess what happened? All these early bird guys who got the tokens for cheap, they sold and then it crashed that price. They did the same thing in Origin. Gave John, Dave, Judy, Muhammad, Shinshan, gave all of them these tokens. It went up to $100 and then boom, they sold. So now we're talking about $16, $17, etc. Right? And so they were trying to avoid that. They said, AKAS says we are the new and improved version. We're going to make this a fair launch. And that's exactly what they're doing. I think they started at $1 and something. But even us node holders, we got in about $17 to $20, right? And right now we're fluctuating around $26 to $28. So I've got some questions about that. Outstanding, how their RBS works. What's their upper bound? What's their lower bound? Range bound stability is what we're about when we're talking about Olympus DAO model. Okay, so all of that, the $6 million that we used to buy nodes was burned 100%. Now, you heard right. They didn't put the $6 million in their pockets and they'll skip down the, road merrily. They burned it. You can find it unchained and 0x0000000 DEAD. That is a common burn wallet on every blockchain. Another common burn wallet on every blockchain, 0x0000000. But there are two common burn wallets on the Binance Smart Chain, on the Polygon, on Avalanche, on Ethereum, on whatever blockchain you can think of. They have one or both of those wallets as burn wallets. No one on the planet has the key to it. So when you burn, throw all of your tokens, all of your LP tokens, all of your AS tokens, whatever else you're burning, it goes in those wallets and it's trackable online. And this is what they did. Wow. That instilled a bit of trust, right? Contract rights, 100% to the black hole. Yes, we do have a wallet that actually performs transaction in conjunction with the RBS, range bound stability contract, that governs and moderates the price to minimize massive volatility on the upside and massive volatility on the downside. So when you hear about RBS, that's what they're talking about. It's a bunch of contracts and it works hand in hand, right? And so again, I talked about the fair launch. Our stuff will be released over 360 days. We can't dump on your head. So we're cool. And, you know, when you look at the United States, and we've got the United States Treasury bonds, and they have the interest adjustment. You know, Trump has been beating down on my man over there in the beating down on him on power, saying, dude, lower the rates, lower the interest rates. He said, no, because you messing around with stuff. We need to see inflation. We need to see what's going on. We need to see what you're really going to do before we take such a move, because there's so much uncertainty in our economy in the United States. We need some stabilization. We need to know what's going on. Even the corporations are saying, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do with our inventory. We don't know what our next moves are going to be because of I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not an independent. I am Queen Wiki. I don't care about none of that crap, right? But in terms of economics, before you make a move, you got to be sure, relatively sure, or have some type of certainty. Because when you have a lot of uncertainty, it's hard to move, right? It becomes riskier to move. And that's what we have going on. So we got the U.S. Treasury bonds. But when we take a look at Olympus Dow back in 2021, right, they were $4.3 billion in their token OHM. Have 137 smart contracts. And people think they know how to analyze smart contracts. They analyze the token contract and come up with some wacko jackal ideas that it's a wallet drainer, etc., when it's not. And we won't even talk about that. They have their security audit done as well. So when you look at AKAS, you look at Origin, you look at WebKey, you look at many other projects out there that are utilizing the Olympus DAO model, it's a reason for that. But each one improves upon the last version. As a matter of fact, I believe that Olympus DAO is on version 3.0. They're on version 3.0. They've done a migration, etc. So all of these guys, all of these projects that are based on that model, the best ones are going to be the ones that are utilizing the latest model, like AKAS is using Olympus DAO 3.0 to create AKAS DAO. They call 4.0 of Olympus DAO. I call it AKAS DAO 1.0. They can call it what they want. Okay. So we talk about the gameplay. We're going to be utilizing DAI. It's a stable coin. It's been around for a long time. MakerDAO is a protocol that's been around on the Ethereum blockchain since whenever. I don't know if many of you know, when you talk about creating stable coins, you know, our government and our, especially back in the day, that they're getting a little friendlier now, but back in the day, man, when you create a stable coin, you're going to upset the financial institutions. You're going to be making a change, right, to everything that we believed in terms of the United States dollar. And I remember the young man who created the algorithm for MakerDAO. He wrote in Twitter, he says, I am not suicidal. He said, I'm not going to kill myself. That reminds me of McAfee. He said the same thing, but they killed him. But he says, none of that's happened, but somebody's following me. So if anything happened to me, they killed me. And everybody was giving him crap about it. Guess what? Shortly thereafter, he was found face down, supposedly drowned in 8 inches of water. Yeah, right. Okay. So when you're doing some things that's going to help us, you got to be anonymous. You got to be careful and all that, particularly in the stablecoin industry, right? So now we've got the Genius Act. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I want you to understand how all of this is related. So now we've, in the United States, we have the Genius Act. And I yawned. So the Genius Act is saying we can have stable coins, but it's got to go through us. It's got to be regulated by the United States. But in DeFi, if you don't know who the developer is, and all it is code, and you can't take down the code, then they are creating algorithmic stable coins. And I know a few more that are coming out, and I'm going to shut my mouth before. I don't want to be found 8 inches drowning in a pool of water. And so So we still have DAI. The guy could die, DIE, but we still have DAI, DAI, because it is cold. It works perfectly, always has. So that is the stable coin that we are using. So we take our DAI in our wallet, hold that DAI in your wallet, go into your back office, utilizing the link that your sponsor has given you, your friend, your loved one, someone you trust have given you a link. You're going to put that. I am anti MetaMask. It's too problematic. I highly recommend, and I talked about this last night, RABBY, Rabby. Go to rabby.io. Awesome, secure wallet, one of the best. Rabby.io. Better than Token Pocket, better than MetaMask. Everything is better than MetaMask, quite frankly. Get that, put that DAI in your wallet, log in, connect with your wallet, the AKAS DAO DApp. You're going to click on swap. You already got the DAI in your wallet. We use the Polygon network, the Polygon blockchain. Make sure you've got gas. All you guys know, if you do Ethereum transactions, you got to have some ETH as gas. When you do Avalanche transaction, you got to have their token as gas. Same thing with Polygon. You must have POL as gas. And the gas here is cheap as heck. So get about $5, $10 worth of POL. You're in like Flynn. You've got your DAI of $100, $1,000, $100,000, what have you. Log into your back office, click on swap, and you swap your DAI for what? AS. Now, we've got bonds. Right now, we've got a liquidity bond. The treasury bond and the burn bond will be launched next month. Right now, we have liquidity bonds. Why would I buy a bond? Okay, why would anyone buy a bond? You put DAI in there. You don't need AS. Pay attention. You put DAI in there. You utilize your DAI and you buy the liquidity bond. And I'm going to show you my back office where today it's silly and stupid and not smart to buy a 30-day, 60-day, or 90-day bond because you're going to be buying it at a higher price of AS than the actual market price. But the 180 days and the 360 days, you're going to be buying and you're going to be getting a discount. So what happens in the bond is your DAI you put in, and every day you're earning AS, you're earning AS, you're earning AS, you're earning AS. That's how the bonds work. And you're getting them at a discount. But when we take a look at the staking, which is another product. So we've got two products, the bonds, which is a liquidity, treasury, and burn, where only the liquidity bond has launched. And on the other end, we have staking. That's the second product. And we have the flexible staking, we have the long-term staking. The flexible staking allows you to be able to withdraw your principal and everything whenever you get ready to. It's your choice. The long-term staking is always something that I like. I don't care if you don't like it, but it's what my preference is. Because I always think about the long term, how to maximize my profitability, right? But I can see if somebody has $100,000 or $1 million, they put it in a long-term staking and they just stake for 5 days. If you stake for 24 hours, you can pull out of the flexible staking, but you earn zero. But let's say you stake for 5 days. If you got $1 million or $100,000, that's a lot of money that you just made. Nothing wrong with that. Most people don't have big money like that, right? And so what I do is I stake in the long-term staking, 30, 60, 90, 180, 360 days. And I'm going to show my back office where you're going to see when you go to the long-term staking page and you click on unstake, you're going to see all of your stakes. You can have multiple stakes, right? You can have flexible staking. You can have a 30-day stake. You can have a 90-day stake. You can have 180. You can have a 360-day stake. They'll list them all. And you click on one of them to see how much money you've made thus far. If you haven't taken anything out or claimed anything or claim your principal or your rebates or your boost, then it's compounding automatically. It's compounding. If you have a little bitty money, it may not appear it's compounding. I had two guys on our team who said, I don't think we're compounding. So I did the math. I did it in the compounding calculator. I got back to them. I said, the reason why you don't see it is because you only have this amount and you're earning 0.01, for example, and you really can't see the magnitude of the compounding, right? The more money you put in, it's easier to discern and see that it is indeed compounding if you touch nothing. Now, in addition to that, what you're going to see at the top, it used to say withdraw, but this time they changed it to say end state. Don't be afraid. It doesn't mean you're ending the stake, your 360-day stake or your 90-day stake, because you can't. What they're doing is every day, what you're earning is part of your principal back, and you're earning your rebase, which is your interest, and you're earning that extra something we call a boost. If you're at 30 days staking, you get a little bit of boost. But if you're at 180, 360 days staking, you get a bigger boost. It's just extra something, saying thank you for being part of the community. Okay? So you'll see after you see the end stake, if you click the end stake, and let's say you have $1,000 in, and let's say that's approximately 38 AS tokens, and you click on end stake, you don't pay any fees for your principal when you want to withdraw. It goes directly into your wallet. You don't pay any fees on your principal, okay? But what you have done is your 38 tokens, AS tokens, now you have less that's actually being staked. So be careful with that. When you're taking out your principal, you're decreasing your principal. Okay, so you're taking out 2 AS, putting that in your wallet, changing that baby to DAI and going on a vacation or whatever you want to do and buying some goodies and having a drink or two and a dance party. Remember, you've just decreased the amount that you have staked. In essence, you're decreasing your potential for profits, but you can do whatever you want to do. The second entry you'll see is rebates. It'll say claim. Okay, as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you guys. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I am going to show you. So we're going to go here. Okay, we're going to stop my share. And I think this is it. Nope. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, here we go. So let me ask you guys, did you see a change in the presentation? This is a wallet. I'm using the Rabby wallet or internet money, one or the other. Say two, put a two in the chat. If you see this new share that I have, put a 2 in the chat so I can continue. Rock and roll, rock and roll. So I really don't use my PC for projects. There's a reason behind that, but that's my reason. So I'm going to start over here. This is one of my wallets. So what I did was I'm going to explain the compensation plan to you guys as well. In order to rank, even the first rank, you've got to have 10 on your front line. So before I built, what I did was I got my node. I think I put in $3,000 or $5,000 for a node. And then I said, wow, I got to have 10 referrals before I can rank. I said, let me just use my own money. And so I utilized my own link, $100, $100, $100, $100, $100, $100, $100. I put in $1,000 on my front line at $100 each. Boom. Now I'm qualified to rank. Okay. Then I started building, right? I started on my first position. I don't build on all of those other ones because what happened is when I get interested parties, I get leaders who want to come on board. I put them on my front line because I know I'm going to have, I need 15 on my front line to rank 5. I'm going to need 30 in the future. So I'm still building my front line. The other guys, I play with them here and there, throw 1,000 in, throw 5,000 in, and those are my play positions. But my main position is my number one top position. But here, what I'm going to show you, let me take a look. You can click on this connected. Hold on. Click on connected. Yeah, 670. And you can always disconnect. When you have multiple accounts, I highly recommend you disconnect, then you connect your second wallet, right? And you may get an error, say signature failed. Refresh, and you're cool. Refresh, reload the page, you're cool. They're going to ask you to sign again, and everything is fine and dandy. With MetaMask, it's been rather problematic. I'm not lying. I remember I was talking to Daniel, and we were on the phone for a long time. And I said, I don't know what the heck is going on with MetaMask. He's like, I don't either. I said, I don't use MetaMask. I said, I'll tell you what, let's get over to Token Pocket. He said, I got Token Pocket. He created another wallet. Bam, worked with no problem. But MetaMask is wacky. Some of you, it may be working fine, right? But it just would not work for us. But again, I like Rabby, RABBY.io. So I'm connected. Now, I'm going to go over here. There's nothing on home, but, blah, 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 blah. Dashboard is where you can find out what is the price of AS. $27.03. It talks about the market cap, $132 million. This is crazy. Okay, at this early stage in the game. They talk about how much AS is being staked. 1.1 million AS is being staked. How much is in the circulating supply that has been minted? 4.9, almost 5 million AS is actually in the circulating supply. And it's either in our stakes, in our hands, in the treasury, etc. But that's how much has been minted. Okay, when you have a DeFi project, it's all about minting. Because if you look at the other projects that are out there and their tokenomics, what they do is they say, we've got 1 billion tokens, right? And they're all pre-minted or what have you, right? And you want to see who's got the most. We end up looking, who's got the most tokens? Are they going to scam us? Are they going to rug pull us? Blah, blah, blah. In these type of DeFi projects, nothing is minted in advance. And so the minting starts when Jane is the first person who stakes. Now the minting starts. Here comes John. He staked. Now, here comes Muhammad, right? From India. Boom, then it starts staking and minting. And then more minting occurs based upon the price that the token is at, right? That's when a range bound stability module kicks in. Then we got the treasury. Then we got the liquidity pool. All this stuff, it works together, right? And there are hundreds of freaking smart contracts in this baby, not just the token contract. Many people are looking at the token contract, and they're even wrong about that. There was someone who said that AS is a wallet drainer because they saw this piece of code. Now, many of you know I have a master's degree in software engineering, so I laugh at half of the stuff that I see. They have a piece of code that talk about decreasing the allowance on approval and increasing the allowance. And they said, oh my God, they could drain your wallet to zero. No, that's not what it means. That's not what it means. So let me continue. Here. We're going to go here. We're going to go to staking. And this is my 10th account. Account number 10. Okay. So long-term staking, we've got 14 million that's in the long-term staking pool. Not me. Everybody, not me. I wish I had $14 million to put in here. So you see, when you come to this page, you can buy 30-day, 90-day, 180 days, or 360 days staking. How? You're going to click on that pull down menu, which doesn't look the same on the mobile phone, but that's okay. They tell you what you have in your wallet. I don't have any AS in my wallet, so I can't buy any. But if you have some AS in your wallet, you enter that amount or the max amount, you approve, you stake, done. But I want to show you, for your people are already staking, what some of this means. Let's go here. You say unstake. No, I'm not unstaking, but this is where all of your detail is. So here I have 27.4 staked for 180 days. I have 91 staked for 180 days. I have 39, almost 40, staked for 180 days. And I have 36, almost 37, staked for 360 days. I don't stake for anything less than 180 days. I don't, that makes sense. Because what people do is they stake for 60 days and then they come back in and stake for 60 more days. And they come back in. Why don't you just stake for 180 days? But whatever floats your boat, I got you. Release amounts. When you see that, that's the principle that has been released, right? Every day, part of your principle, being released. Okay, so I'm going to pull this arrow down. If you click on unstake, you're going to get 2.62 AS put into your wallet. But your 27.4 will go down to 27.4 minus 2.62, right? So now you're staking less. So you've decreased your opportunity, right, to earn more and more. I am not taking out my principal at this time, period, right? Or I'll wait for the 180 days. You got a 30-day stake, you might as well wait for the whole 130 days. Why are you taking out your principal? Now, the next one is the rebase rewards. What's rebase? In our world, we call it interest. This is what you're earning, right? In rebase rewards, and this is how much you have in the bucket. You click claim. Now, when you say unstake, on your principal, you do not pay any fees. You don't pay 1%, 5%, 10%, 15%. That's your principal. You don't pay fees. It goes directly to your wallet. You're okay. Now, when you're talking about the rebase rewards and the rebase boosting, right? Rebase boost, that little something they give you, that little extra they're giving you for being so kind to come into the community. Yeah, the longer you stake, the more your rebase boost is going to be. So you guys come in at 30 days, you're going to get a little less, 0.04 or something. I can't remember what it is. If you stake for 180 and 360 days, you get maybe 0.09 extra every day. Okay, so that's what that is. So if I click on claim, and then what'll happen, let me click on claim. What'll happen is they'll say, okay, you have 2.72 you can claim. And I can say, well, just give me one, or I can just say max. And then what they do is they say, how much tax are you willing to pay? I hate taxes. So if you want it in 5 days to go into your incentive pool, I'm going to show you that. If you want it in 5 days, I want it now, you got to pay 15% income tax. How about 10 days? Okay, 10% income tax. How about 15 days? Okay, 5% income tax. How about 20 days? Okay, you cool. You're committed. You only pay 1%. And so what happens is when you choose and you confirm, they will take my 2.729, take 15% or 1% out of it, and that's how much I'm going to get. And where can you see that? Let's go here. I'm going to go to DAO. DAO is where you see everything. Everything, all your reports, your downlines, or whatever. I don't believe that this account, my 10th account, have any downlines. It doesn't. No downlines, no nothing. So if you aren't building and you're passive, no sense going to the resonance pool. You're going to get a big fat zero, right? No sense in going to the level pool, referral pool, service pool, or reciprocal pool, because you're not building. If you are, you're going to see numbers there, and I'm going to show you. This is all of the stuff that you're earning, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 5, 6, 7 ways to earn in this baby. But all of your withdrawals, all of your claims goes into the incentive pool. Okay, so I've got about 5. Was it 4.9 plus 1.2? 4.9 has been released. I can claim those and send them over to the turbine. I'll send them all over to the turbine, right? But I got 1.26 to go. I don't have to wait. I can send whatever I have right now. Because let's say for 5 days. For 5 days, 20% of your withdrawal will be available for you to throw over into the turbine and withdraw. Right? Why is it 20%? 20 times 5 days is 100%. 10 days, you choose that, right? Every day, 10% will be releasable into the turbine. 10 times 10 is 100%, right? 20 days, 20% a day will be released here, released AS, pending release over here. They're going to be released, right? 20 times 5 is 100%. So every day, 5% will be released. And I'm going to try one. So what I'm going to do is, which one? I got let's try the 5-day one. I'm going to click on turbine. What happens is, I don't know if you guys can see it on your screen, my wallet, my Rabby wallet opens up. It opens up, and then I do let me move this out of the way. I do a sign. I'm going to sign, and it's not going to like kill my wallet or anything. So I click on sign. I click on confirm. I click on confirm. And we're going to hold on. It's a transaction confirming. Transaction confirming. That's for 2.055. Okay. Now, I go now, claim successful. Now, what did I just do when I did that? You'll notice that my release AS is now 0.0217, right? So it's going to get bigger and bigger, 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 whatever, right? Here, everything's always increasing, always increasing. So what I'm going to do is go to turbine. Now, I won't be able to withdraw, and I'm going to tell you why. So if I go to turbine, they'll tell me I have no DAI in my wallet. Okay, but I got 2.05 AS waiting for me to unlock. But I can't unlock it unless I have 2.05 AS, which is about 27 plus 27. It's 54 plus about 14 more. I got to have probably about $65 worth of DAI in my wallet. And you're like, wait a minute, why do I have to have money in my wallet for them to give me the money that they owe me? That, you know, and that was one of my first questions when I was on my first webinar with these guys, and they were showing me how this thing worked. So pay attention. Let's say you've got the 65 DAI in your wallet. Now you can actually say, I want to take the max, but you see here, I don't have any DAI in this wallet. This is one of the wallets that I don't do much with. I just let it sit. So I don't have any DAI in this wallet. But they're saying you need 55.26 DAI. That's about $56, right? And I can go and put some DAI in there, which is what I would do. So what they do is when you say unlock, they give you 2.0597 AS, but they take $55 of your DAI and they buy AS with it. And you're like, wait. So where's my money? All they did was do a swap on my DAI. All they did was give me 2.0597 AS. Check this out. When you do the unlock, what's going to appear here, right? You can see I haven't done anything here. What's going to appear here is a clock. And you're going to see a clock. 59 minutes. 59, 58, 57. You're going to see the clock. In about an hour, they're going to give you another 2.05. So no, they didn't steal your money. So let me go through that again. In order to get your withdrawals that you're claiming, that you threw into the turbine pool from the incentive pool, you need to have the matching amount or more in DAI in your wallet. And so when you unlock, what they're going to do is take that 55.26 DAI that you have, and they're going to swap it for AS. Okay, so you're going to have 2.0597 AS, and you won't have no DAI. Then an hour later, you'll see a clock. An hour later, they're going to say, okay, here's your 2.0597. So now you got 4.2 DAI, I'm sorry, AKAS in your wallet. So you got your money, and you can just take your AKAS and change it back to DAI if you want. I do a lot of manipulation like that in one of my accounts, because let's say I've got 10,000 I need to withdraw. I'm like, man, I am not putting $10,000 in DAI in this wallet. But the good thing is, and they didn't have this at first, they allow us to put what we want to withdraw. So if you had $10,000 at the beginning to withdraw, you better go find $10,000 worth of DAI if you want to get it. But they changed it. They allow us to put the amount we want to. So if I have $1,000 in DAI, I just say, okay, I just want $1,000 worth of AS to come out. Then I take the AS that they give me, I swap it for DAI. Now I have another $1,000 worth of AS. Then I go back in. I mean, so you can do all of that. You can do all of that. You just make sure you have the DAI in your wallet. It's pretty darn good. What they're trying to do is making sure that people are engaging with the swapping and the transactions in the community. So they're not taking anything from you. So now, what I'm going to do now, before I go back to the presentation, I know many of you are waiting for, let's go with, I already went through DAI. This particular account doesn't have a team, so none of this matters. Okay, and I'm going to talk about the resonance pool, the level pool, referral pool, service pool, reciprocal pool. I'll talk about all of that. Turbine is where the final stage you go to. We've got the swap. And I tell everybody this. They do not give us, let me move this. They do not give us, like John comes in with $10,000. You're not getting 10% on his $10,000. And this is one of the downfalls of many of the projects out there. John comes in with $10,000, you get 10%. So now that leaves only 9,000. But your sponsor gets 8%. Your sponsor gets 7%. Your sponsor 6%. Before you know it, 60% of his $10,000 have already been distributed to the uplines. So his $10,000 is really $4,000. But he's still earning on $10,000. That ain't, the math ain't mathing. And so here, in the AKAS and many other new DeFi projects, you do not get paid on what someone chooses to stake. What you're going to get your payments on is what folks earn on their stakes or their bonds daily. Boom, boom, boom. Every day, every day. That's what you earn on. Except for one exception. If you're ranked, that's number one. I'm going to talk about that. If you're ranked, it could be V1, V2, V2, whatever. And if you have a stake or bond 180 or 360 days, okay, that's the second criteria. And what's the third? The third criteria is if your guy or gal who came in and you didn't like send him any AS to, start staking, right? Or you didn't tell him to go to the market and buy AS and come in. He has DAI in his wallet. He come into the back office. And what he's going to do with that DAI is what? Click on swap. Okay? And what he's going to do, he's going to take his DAI. Let me say max. I don't have much DAI in this account. And he's going to swap it for AS back here. Now you're eligible to get 5% of what he put in. So if you put in $10,000, you get $500. But again, 3 criteria. 1, you got to have 180 days or 360 days staking or bond. 2, they have to come in not with AS, but they got to come in through the system, swap their DAI for AS. 3, what's the third one? You got to be ranked. You got to be ranked. I don't care if it's rank 1. Now you can start getting those delicious 5%. And I'm honest with my team. People I bring in personally, I said, do me a favor. Do me a favor. You coming in with 10 grand, you coming in with 20 grand. Do me a favor, man. Hook me up. Don't come in talking about buying AS and me doing some exchanges with you. I said, put the DAI in your wallet. Of course, we all have to have POL, that's gas. Remember, it's a Polygon network, Polygon blockchain. I said, just put the DAI in there, come in here, pay your 3% on this exchange, and you'll see here it says 1. If it says 1, you may get an error. Put 3, because that's in a smart contract that we're going to be hit with 3%. Take the 3%, don't take the 3%. I'm going to make money. I'm going to take the 3%. Take the 3% hit and come in with your DAI, do the swap. And I said, you know what? And I'll thank you very much, because then I make 5% on what you're staking or buying in the bonds. And they'll laugh and say, okay, cool. They'll do that for me, right? So don't be lying to people, trying to force them to go 180, 360 days against their will. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about relationship building and talking to people. But there's going to be some people coming in that don't know you, because you're going to be spreading your link around to all whatever, and you're going to miss some of the 5%. Okay, it's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Okay, I'd rather it be in the system anyway. So that's that. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back, and that was very, very important about that 5% and people being ranked. You can go to community. It'll show you who your referral was. It'll show you your referral link. And I like looking at community. This particular account, I'm not building. But what you will see is total community bonus amounts, how much you've made on your community. It'll show you that. And direct referral details. It'll say when they join, what their wallet address is, their net position, and your community volume. And when you guys see things like, let me show you, let's go to DIO. This is for people who are building. Let's go to level pool. So you go to level pool, they'll tell you what your position is. I've got 195 AS staking. Okay, it'll tell you what you got staked, what you got in bonds. It'll tell you what the valuation is. This one's $5,277. It'll tell you what your community level is. Community level is your rank, V1, V12, what have you. It'll tell you what your direct referral count is, how many people you got referred. You'll probably see like 12/15. That means 12, that means you put in 15 people, 12 have paid. You'll see that. Sub-community volume. When you see anything related to sub-community volume, what does that mean? Remember, in order to rank, you're gonna, in general, you're gonna earn on everybody in your downline. So don't get it twisted. They're not going to take nothing from you. You're going to be earning resonance bonus and level bonuses and all of that from and the 10 levels up and the 10 levels down. You're going to be earning all of that. But to rank, they throw out your largest leg. So if you got this guy or gal who's jamming, you got 10 people on your front line, and the 10 people on your front line, only one guy or gal is jamming. She got, $500,000 in volume, and the rest of them combined, the other 9 combined, you've got, let's say, 40,000 in volume. They're throwing her out. So your 40,000 means you're going to be rank 1, because you need 20,000 to be rank 1 in your sub community, in your lesser legs. That's what it means. Community volume, they're going to show you that you got 500,000 plus the 40,000, you got $540,000 total community value, but your sub community, your smaller legs, only 40,000. Got it? So that's how we read this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the presentation. I think this was a good way. It was a good segue into this. Okay. I'm going to go back to the presentation, and then I'm going to share it. Wait, I'm going to share it. Stop share. Were you guys looking in my back office? I hope you were. I hope I was showing you guys my back office. I certainly hope I was. Was I, guys? Chat. If I was showing you guys my back office, say yes. Because if I wasn't, say yes. Because if I wasn't, I am not going to be a happy camper, because I went through all of that back office. Let me go to my chat. Okay. Can you please post the AS State coin? Okay. So great. post the AS State coin address. That's in my group. It's in the group. I have the AS State coin addresses for 30, 60, 90 days. I've got the AS token address. I've got the treasury address. I've got the COC address. They're all in there. They're all in there in the pin post. Or you can just do a search in Telegram, type in contract, and look at all of the posts about contracts. There's not a lot, but you'll see that document with all of those guys being shown. Okay. Yes, one of okay, great, super. Okay, super. So now I'm going to let me stop the share. I'm going to share again. Whew! I was hoping you guys were seeing my wallet. I'm like, oh my God, they don't see it. So let's get back over here. I'm going to finish this off very, very quickly. Now we're back to the presentation. And so I'm not going to talk about the United States Treasury anymore. But again, let's say you're not a builder and you have no intention on building, or maybe you want to do a half build. You can do this by yourself. Let's say you've got $26,500. And let's assume we're getting 0.5% every 12 hours. Right now, I think we're getting about 0.44 or 0.42% every 12 hours. So you put in 1,000 at the top, and then you put in 10 more positions using your link. 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Okay? You're a B1. Because what do you need to do to be a B1? To be a B1, $20,000 on your weaker legs. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20. Right? So those are your weaker legs. They don't, you actually got 25. This one gets thrown out at 5, but all the rest add up. It's more than 20,000. Hey, you're now ranked V1. And this particular slide simply, and I have this in the group as well, tells you how much you're going to be making, right, in 30 days. So 60 times, because remember, 12 hours, 12 hours. So 60 times you're going to be getting paid, and it's going to be compounded. You don't touch it. That'll be $35,700 already in 30 days. You compound that in 70 days, 53,000. In 1 year, $1 million. Okay. In 1 year, $1 million. And many of these AKAS DAO projects, they last a year or more. If you heard of WebKey, they haven't gone anywhere. They haven't gone anywhere. They have created mobile phones, all kinds of stuff. They've got stores on the ground, brick and mortar, electronic stores. So these guys tend to last quite a bit. You know, in terms of the price, you're going to get the fluctuation in price. I know people over at Origin, they're kind of mad at some of the teams for selling their tokens, and you're going to get that. But people can sell what they want when they get ready to. So whatever. You know, but in terms of them being around for a long time, these are the ones we're embracing. And we're not doing those daily ROIs that go away in 2 weeks. They go away in 3 months. They go away in 6 months. You wake up every morning, you're nervous about turning on that computer. Yeah, and I did it. So I retired. I got tired of it. And this is what made me come back. Actually, I did get into a deal called Pop Max. They're very centralized. They promise a lot. I said I can't bring the people in. And why I can't bring people in, because you promise a lot. I want to see them deliver. You know, like they have a partnership with my good friend, Hardy, with his exchange, NIVEX, but all the other stuff, Punk version, all these things, they haven't delivered. And so I need them to deliver before I can even present that to any people. And this is my criteria. This is my criteria. You must deliver. You must deliver, not webinars and all these other things. I need to see your product. Stop promising. Don't promise if you can't deliver or you're not ready to deliver. So here with these type of projects, people say, what are the products? How are they generating revenue? And that's where people got it mucked up. Yeah, it's kind of like asking, how is the United States Treasury generating revenue? It's not. It's not generating revenue on products, right? China, Japan, all the countries around the world, USDT, Tether got a gazillion dollars. What do? They're buying United States Treasury bonds because they're getting interest on it. But when there's uncertainty, and the interest goes up, they get scared. And Japan has been selling for the last few years saying, you know, America, I'm sorry, you guys are crazy, right? China is not going to sell all of its U.S. Treasury bonds. Why not? Because it'll then make their economy unstable. So, but it's all about money circulating. It's all about internal money. It's about liquidity. It's about treasury bonds. This is what we have. It's all about staking and holding and all of that. What we have here is a decentralized financial system. It's not a storefront. We're not selling gold watches. We're not selling gold watches or visas or anything, guys. So this is what we have. I just thought I'd bring that to your attention because that question comes up often. And the same thing here. If you want to be a B2 and you got $72,000 in your pocket and you don't want to recruit, put in $1,500 at your top. 10K, 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 100, 100, 100, 100. Because you need, what do you need? $60,000 in order to be a B2. So let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. The 10K here drops out. Okay, 60. So you got 6,400. I mean, 60,000, 60, wait, 1, 2, 3, 400, $60,400. You are now a B2. So this is how you want to look at it as an individual. We call it self-simulation. You're building your own rank, or you can do this on your own and build it and get some folks in for 10K, 10K, 5K, 3K, 2. It doesn't matter. You know, as long as you get that volume. And of course, let's say you're compounding and in a year, you get $2.74 million, right? In 30 days, 970, what is that? $97,000 on a $72,000 outlay. In 70 days, right? Assuming it's 0.5%, every 12 hours. Now you're talking about $144,500 in just 70 days in less than 3 months. Okay. So that's how the numbers work. But we know they're never going to be static. Okay. And this doesn't include the coin price increase, the appreciation. It doesn't include any of the bonuses that you're getting because you're already getting bonus here. If you got 10 people on your front line, you got resonance coming in. You're going to earn 10 levels up. You're going to earn 10 levels down. And remember, in order to earn in that resonance pool, right, you can bring in one person and you earn 1 level up and 1 level down. Bring in 5 people, 5 levels up, 5 levels down. 10 people, that's how you get your rank. You earn 10 levels up, 10 levels down. So Jane and John and Muhammad on your team are jamming, right? You're going to earn a percentage of all of their daily earnings. But in your upline, and you only have, let's say, $1,000 staking or $1,000 in bonds, and he's got 10,000, she's got 5,000, etc. I'm talking about the upline. This is where the cap comes. But you only have 1,000. You're going to be able to get a piece of the rock from them in your upline up to $1,000. So whatever their $1,000 is earning on a daily basis, you're going to get what they're earning on $1,000, not what they're earning on 15,000, because you only have 1,000. But that doesn't hold. There's no cap in your downline. They can come in at $100,000, $1 million, $50,000, what have you. You're going to be able to earn what they're earning, earn on what they're earning every day. I hope that you guys get that one. Okay, so we talk about the staking knowledge yield example. If the token price is $27, you come in with $1,000, you're going to get about 37 tokens. Let's assume that the compound is 0.5% every 12 hours and 30 days, principal plus interest. Remember, I told you we're earning every 12 hours, principal and interest. You're going to have 50 coins. 70 days, principal plus interest, 74 coins. A year, principal plus interest, 1,410 coins. 2 years, principal plus interest, 53,700 coins. And so if indeed the price is $100 for the token, you've got, that's wrong. That $10 shouldn't be 53 million. The $10 should be 5.3 million. The $100 should be 53 million. But you know, do the math. If it's $1, it goes all the way down to $1, you got $53,700. $10, you've got 55.37 million, okay, etc. So that's how that works out. This is another self-simulation. I'm not going to go over any of them. I think you guys are getting what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's get out of here. Okay, let's get out of here. Stop. Next time, I'm going to use my other presentation because it talks about, this one only talks, oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Yes, the DAO incentives for building a team. Resonance reward, I already talked about that. Up to 10, down 10, you're going to earn on what these folks are earning up in your upline and your downline. You're going to be earning on them. The first guy, first level, 10%. Second level, 5%. Third generation, 3%, 2%, 1%, etc. That's how you're going to be earning, right? That's the resonance rewards. You can see in your back office when you click on DAO resonance. Okay, pool. The title rewards. When you hear title, they're talking about rank, right? They're talking about rank, V1 through V12. How do you rank V1? I already told you. Have $20,000 in sales volume on your weaker legs combined. They throw out the big leg, but all your weaker legs combined. And you've got to have 10 folks on your front line before even thinking about being ranked, okay? So we can make some good money here, some big money here. Sometimes what happens, though, you get your downline kicking your butt. And then you're going to be losing some of your money here, right? So you get a downline of V4 who gets 45%. Okay. And so you as a V1, you're going to get damaged. So what they did was they say, okay, we're not going to let you go to zero. We're going to let you earn something, but you need to catch up. So they have leadership rewards. Leadership reward is they're going to give you 2%. They're going to give you the 2% on your compressed generations, right? You're going to get the 2%. So don't fear. They're not taking everything away from you. The rebound, let me move this over. The rebound reward, I believe that's what we call the reciprocal reward, is the taxes or withdrawal fees. Remember I talked about if you want your money in 5 days, you pay 15%, or is it 20%, whatever the heck it is, income tax. If you can wait 20 days, then it's only 1% income tax or withdrawal fee. All of that is put in the bucket. I think about 50% is put in the bucket for us, but it's only for the V1s, V2s, V3s, and V4s. People, why not the V5? Why not the V8s? Number one, we don't have a lot of big folks in yet who rank like that. We got some, but nobody's V12, nobody's V11, nobody's V10, nobody's V9. We're new, okay? But if you rank V5, you're making a whole bunch of money. So this is for the guys who are doing the work, who are trying to come up. So V1, they're going to take that money, 40% of that money, 50% of all of the withdrawal fees put in the bucket, 40% of that money, they're going to take it and give it out to the V1s. Thank you for working so hard, right? V2s will get 30% of it. V3s will get 20%. V4s will get 10%. People, well, why did V4s get less than the V1s? Well, you know, there's going to be more V1s in the bucket, right, than V4s. So the V4s going to be able to share in 10%, but it's probably going to be pretty hefty, right? Because there's not going to be a whole bunch of people. The majority of the people are going to be V1s and V2s. And so they gave them a bigger percentage because there's more people. The service reward, oh, and that rebound reward that I talked about is actually called the reciprocal reward in your back office. That one you're going to get every 15 days. It comes out every 15 days. Okay, so I think the first one was July 10th, and then it was July 25th, and then et cetera, et cetera. So every 10 days, everybody on the same schedule. That's when you'll see that big bonus coming in, your reciprocal rewards. The service reward is what I already talked to you about, the 3 criteria, where you're going to get 5% of what your guy or gal that you brought in, right, are staking or buying in bonds. As long as they're buying 180 or 360 days, as long as you have something staking, right, or bonds, 180 to 360 days, as long as you are ranked and you're ranked. And what else? Oh, and that they come in with their DAI in their wallet, utilize the swapping facility in the DApp back office, and they swap their DAI to AS. Bam, you get the service reward. You get that immediately. It's instant. Okay, but you can't force people to do 180, 360 days. You can't force. They're going to do what they want, but just be nice to them and tell them, don't lie to them. I just asked them to do me a favor, man. Just do me a favor. Give me the 5%. Here's how I can work. I want you to come in 180 to 360 days. And they were like, well, I was thinking about 30 days or 90 days. And I would say, okay. Okay. But I will tell them why. I will ask them why. And so, why? What's your goal? What are you trying to do? So there you go, guys and gals. I am done. I'm going to open it up for questions. I am going to stop this share. And I am going to open it up for questions. Wait, stop share. I think I got through this. What time is it? Put some questions or put something in the chat. And if indeed you want to raise your hand, if you have something to say, I'll allow you to unmute. Okay, allow you to unmute. Okay. Thank you so much. Amazing. Thank you, Gina. Gina, I'm going to make you also a moderator in the an admin in the Telegram group. I'll do that when we get off of here. You're just such a shining star, girl. You're a shining star. Michael, yes, thank you. Okay. Super. I see we have no hands raised, and I'm going to stop the recording.